and a regulated press. And you pay a tax you do not owe to please the IRS. Your money is no longer made of silver nor of gold. You trade your wealth for paper so your life can be controlled. You pay for crimes that make our nation turn from God and shame. You've taken Satan's number. You've traded in your name. You've given government control to those who do you harm so they could burn down churches and seize the family farm and keep our country deep in debt. Put men of God in jail. Harass your fellow countrymen while corrupted courts prevail. Your public servants don't uphold the solemn oaths they've sworn. And your daughters visit doctors so their children won't be born. Your leaders send artillery and guns to foreign shores and send your sons to slaughter fighting other people's wars. Can you regain the freedoms for which we fought and died? Or don't you have the courage or the faith to stand with pride? And are there no more values for which you'll fight to save? Or do you wish your children to live in fear and be a slave? Oh, sons of the Republic, arise, take a stand. Defend the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Preserve our great republic and each God-given right. And pray to God to keep the torch of freedom burning bright. As I awoke, he'd vanished in the mist from whence he came. His words were true. We are not free, but we have ourselves to blame. For even now as tyrants trample each God-given right, we only watch and tremble, too afraid to stand and fight. If he stood by your bedside in a dream while you were asleep and wondered what remains of the freedoms he'd fought to keep, what would be your answer if he called out from the grave? Is this still the land of the free and home of the brave? God bless you, and God bless this republic.
And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first hour of the afternoon intelligence report. I'm Mark Corky. One day closer to victory for all of our brothers and sisters, both on and behind the lines in occupied territories, southwest, east, northeast, and south. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to us on LibertyTreeRadio.4mg.com, Liberty Tree Radio on YouTube via live stream, and we are on AM and FM micro stations, AM and FM conventional stations, CB base stations, and Ultranet, Hallmark, and Golden Spike Technologies east and west of the Mississippi, along with Alaska. Good afternoon to all of our friends out there in the lower 49, including the great state of Jefferson, along with CONUS, the outlying two states, territories, and the clock, 5:13 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Thursday. It is the 15th of October. It is the 12th year of open Fabian Socialist and Soviet Socialist occupation of America with a K, 2000 and... Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. 2020, old Earth calendar, 2020, year of conflict, year of betrayal, battle for the Republic, dance of swords. And if you're seeing all the dribble that's being popped out, all of a sudden, last minute, oh my goodness, all of a sudden we discovered what's going on with Biden, and of course from the other end, it's Trumposaurus, oh God, blah, 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 blah. Here's how it works. Step back. Hold on. Let me grab that coffee here. Let's step back for a minute. 2 or 3 steps. Take a calm breath. Let half of it out. There we go. Now let's have some coffee here. Smell. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now taste. Old Polish saying, not my circus, and none of those are my monkeys. Or in other words, not my circus, not my monkeys. Anyway, with the dribble that's going on right now, the intensity, guys, the fraud is in, okay? All the rest of this is to baffle everybody with BS and make you believe that somehow you're going to have some effect with whatever the hell it is that's going on. Here's how it works. Have you watched any of the propaganda about NAFTA and GATT? I've had stuff inundated to me in emails, and those bastards love NAFTA and GATT. The Democrats gave us NAFTA and GATT. Now that's not a lie, but it's a half lie, or it's a half truth. Which do you want to call that? I guess it's a lie, okay? But it's a half truth. After all, let me take you back to the heady days of I don't want George Bush, and I would say in the same breath I do not want Bill Clinton, okay? The 1992 election. George Herbert Walker Bush was already going after gun owners and had been for nigh on 8 years. There was all kinds of anti-gun stuff done when Reagan was in. It was pushed by by Bush Senior, George Herbert Walker Bush. And progressively, that term is quite appropriate, progressives are on both sides coming in. They are globalists. You have the Democrat, neocon-type globalists, communists, and you have the neocon globalist communists on the Republican side. And they're all hating America. They all want to destroy the border, knock everything down, et cetera, et cetera. We know about the tripe that the excrement and filth were pushing. It's been around for a while, okay? But in 1991 and 1992, if you were around, and some of you are probably just slightly too young to remember because you probably weren't even listening to radio or television, well, Rush Limbaugh was around. Rush Limbaugh was around back then, guys, wasn't he? Rush Limbaugh's been around for a while. He's gotten his pat on the head and squeeze on the ass for all the lies he's helped to commit too, okay? What was the running theme and anthem of the Republicans during the 1991-1992 election cycle? NAFTA and GATT. We have to have NAFTA and GATT. If you get George Herbert Walker Bush in there, he will make America stronger with NAFTA and GATT. You'll have jobs out the door and gone, but you're not supposed to think about that. And George Herbert Walker Bush, because you need NAFTA and GATT. That was the Republicans. And by the way, I was doing radio back then, and I actually was on several different, mid-grade, like multi-station FM networks at different times, and was doing interviews before American Peril. And you could talk about anything, all those blasted commies, the communists, yeah, it's horrible, all the Democrats, they're like hyper-liberal. And then, and by the way, that's why we need to stop NAFTA and get, what? Well, NAFTA and GATT is good. And, of course, every one of these stations, because they knew where their bread was buttered, would parrot the George Herbert Walker Bush agenda, cut you off in a heartbeat and tell you all about how you just didn't know what you were talking about. No, they loved anything else you were saying as long as you didn't interfere with the agenda to screw the American economy. And this was going on all the way up to, well, when the fake-ass election took place, like so many fake-ass elections we've had in this country. And all of a sudden, instead of George Bush getting in there because they realized nobody really cared for either one, but they realized that everybody knew what George Bush was up to with Rex 84 and all the other stuff that had happened before that, where he was going with things. And everybody was ready for him. So they threw Bill Clinton in there. Well, everybody knew that was a commie, just like this whole situation we have here with Trump and Biden. Same scenario, same game, different day, different century even, okay? However, what was Bill Clinton's running motto during the 92 election? A vote for Bill Clinton is a vote against NAFTA. Well, you have to vote Bill Clinton in there to stop NAFTA dead in its tracks. Bill Clinton will protect the UAW. Bill Clinton will protect the American worker. Bill Clinton will not sign NAFTA and GATT. Third thing that he signed when he came into the presidency was what? NAFTA and GATT. Now, don't forget Al Gore, and all the others. There was a series of signings. You might recall that one of them was out at the Grand Canyon. This is 30 years ago, people. Come on, think about it. 30 years ago, a little less than 30 years ago. But it's long enough back that, they had all these special symbolic signings leading up to Bill Clinton. Who told you? Well, vote for Bill Clinton is a vote against NAFTA. Bill Clinton will stop NAFTA dead in its, and he signed it. So, yeah, Bill Clinton did sign NAFTA and GATT. But the architect, a long-standing architect of this whole scam, in conjunction with Henry Kissinger, there was Marble Mouth Henry Kissinger, okay, along with Zbigniew Brzezinski, that shyster from the Ukraine. Yeah, same turds that are over there screwing the Ukraine now. Yeah, made sure the Jewish mob got in there, ripped all the gold right out of the Ukraine. As soon as they plopped their sorry feces bird butt in there, all the cash, real hard cash, was gone, and they've been stealing ever since. And, of course, it's a great mishkal because they get to dump American dollars in there, and they're just gone. They get stolen faster than they were when the other characters were in charge. Doesn't make any difference which batch the Jewish mob got in there. It was like rape, kill, pillage, and burn. The sky's the limit. And they started a war on top of everything else, intentionally, where they were going to rape, kill, pillage, and burn more people. But they didn't. The militia kind of slowed them down there, and so the world is very different from the big picture that they had. Although they're still getting what they want done. They're killing Ukrainians, both sides. Ukrainians on both sides are dying because of the Jewish mob pushing that garbage there. Same thing here. That's what they're moving towards right now. What's cute about this is, again, of course, we know about the Biden thing now, or at least now they're flapping their yap about it. I mean, didn't we not know about this 2 years ago? Yes. Did we know about this 3 years ago? Yes. Did we know about this 4 years ago? Yes. Did anybody really talk about it? Oh, no, they were told to shut their face. But now, all of a sudden, it's out there in the open. Now, that's one thing that's been happening in the last couple of days. Look at the pickle, smoke, and mirrors and BS they're throwing out there to make it very urgent. It's very urgent now. It's very urgent. But wait, it was really like all common secondhand knowledge for all of us. Okay? So anyway, good old Bill signed all that into play. But if you listen to all the drivel right now, it was Bill Clinton. It was Bill Clinton. No. George Bush, George Herbert Walker Bush, the spook and kook, was first into China before Nixon. In fact, really first into China kind of predated Henry Kissinger by what? How many months? There there was a special commerce entourage that went to China. Now, then there was the negotiating entourage, which included Kissinger that went to China, and then there was the official, only Richard Nixon could go to China. Remember that Spock thing? They always throw that in there to piss in your face about that. They laugh their ass off about that, by the way. The Jewish mob does, because the Jewish mob runs communist China. So the Jewish mob, who's manipulating everybody here, gets to everybody wipe their weenie in your face from both directions. Anyway, only Richard Nixon could go to China. Yeah, good old Henry Kissinger. Okay? So, anyway, George was there first, and George set himself up for all the business and all the war contracts and all the other fun stuff to also steal technology from the U.S. and hand it over to the communist Chinese to make a bigger enemy. Just that simple. So, all of that was done, and more. Don't worry, and more, as they say. So, where are we right now? Well, we got a couple of things going on. How many of you people saw the New York Times piece about, well, how they're going to settle the election, how the the Jew York Times is telling you they should settle the election if there's some kind of tie. Now, I'm going to ask you, does anybody out there truly believe that there's a 50-50 split in this country? First of all, there aren't as many queers and leftists as they'd like to make you believe. But let's ask ourselves, this question, how many times for how many elections now? It's 49, it's 48 to 51, or 50 and a half, or,
which is all garbage and nonsense.
It's all drivel, okay? Absolute drivel. So now we're going to use that. Now we, the communists, are now saying that if we have a tie here, that they want the UN. Wait a minute. Whoa, back up here. Let's think about something for a minute. I want you to do a search of Mark Kornke, my name. See how many hits you get right off the bat. Also want to punch in Patriot Movement or punch in militia. See how many hits you get. Now, you're going to be able to see all the New York Times postings, and I want you to go through all those Jew York Times postings, and I want you to read how many times, and they think that somebody wants to bring the UN into the United States. That's just crazy patriot mythology. That's crazy conspiracy theory. Well, because it's not theory, it's actually a conspiracy and facts, okay? But it's a criminal conspiracy. Let's have the rest of what's supposed to be there. When you talk about a conspiracy, this is a criminal conspiracy. See, that's the part you have to leave out, because otherwise you have to. Your brain is properly oriented to what we're talking about. This is a criminal conspiracy, but it's right out in the open. They're flapping their yap in all of these media sources that they own to prime the pump for the next level of absolute betrayal of the sovereignty of the United States. And the only thing that should happen to them is you drag their sorry ass out, put them up against the wall, and shoot their ass. Or, if they're in good old New York, take their ass up to a high floor, chuck them out a window, and just put the dumpsters all down below. Gravity sucks, and it's pretty straightforward. It's 90 degrees down. Oh, he hit the edge of both of those dumpsters. Half of him is over there, half of him is over there. Good shot, Bob. Hold on. Try that one again. Did you notice where you threw that one? Throw the next one out that way. Wait. There we go. Good shot.
Mark, for those who are in the hinterlands, a local unused quarry would be very sufficient.
Yeah, it's got to be a stone quarry, though. We don't want to be too soft down below.
No, when it's half full, and you just bulldoze dirt in over the top, and you
no rubble.
The next 20
Actually,
years.
I think no, don't bury them that way. Actually, just leave the chunks of stone down below, big, small, little, and you got a D12 or bigger. You just push it sideways, and the stones kind of work like a perforating meat grinder. So you shovel them that way. The crows come in, small animals feast.
But the flies.
Well, the small creature, the bugs. Well, there's other bugs.
Yeah, they have to eat too, right?
They gotta eat too. Flies gotta eat, same as the worms. Remember, paraphrasing Josie Wales. We might not have enough vultures to go around. So anyway, right now, as we speak, they've made their public face known about what they believe the agenda, which, by the way, for how many years we have patiently listened to their lies. Oh, that's just crazy, just conspiracy. Now, there's no UN intervention plan in the. And by the way, here in the the New York Times, the big plan for UN intervention in the United States. Yeah. Well, like I said, we're going to treat them just the way we plan on treating them. And anybody riding with the UN is going to go just like the UN. Does everybody understand that? Because we already have a policy on that one, well established. Everybody knows what's going to happen. So, and don't forget, strip the enemy dead. Don't just throw them off the edge there. Strip the enemy dead of everything. Make sure you got everything that they might be trying to hide. And then do the party. Whatever you're going to do. I can't be there to stop you. And do I even sound like I'm concerned to? I am not. Okay, that game, long gone, as far as that goes. We're finished with that one. Another thing here real quick. I want to do this before we go any farther. I'm always trying to point everybody towards solutions. There's a couple of things right now that are available. I know everybody's been asking me about helmets. There's two directions you can go. Well, there's three. There's actually, it's probably about as infinite as helmets are out there, okay? But let's go to the three basics real quick. I had about 6 or 7 questions because one group, about 20 people, are looking for helmets. Okay. First of all, what are you trying to do? Stop bullets or just keep your head from getting beat in? Now, in addition, it's what do you have for a budget? Now, if you're willing to spend a little bit, I'll go number 4. There's 4 options. Yeah, but fourth I never mentioned, okay, because it's pretty well logical. If you have the money, you're not going to worry about asking questions about where can I find. There are some great steel, modern, just recently made, what they're calling the militia helmet. And there are many other models, but the militia helmet, you'll see it tested on YouTube, and you'll see examples that other people have already picked up. Some have bought and actually tested themselves because they wanted to see whether or not what they were saying on the advertisements they did, the Advo videos, whether or not they were real. Turns out they were. So if you want to spend $300, $250 to $350, depending on which grade of helmet you want and how much side cover you want, etc., then you can pay top dollar and get a really decent piece of equipment. It will stop a lot of junk coming in at high velocity. Okay, it's been proven. And in fact, they're using the same helmet for testing, which, by the way, means multiple repeat hits, and they hold up pretty good. Okay, they really do. They are heavier. That's the one thing you better remember is, all this stuff that you're adding on, I got to have more armor on me. And I've warned you again, you're going to be carrying more weight. Now, that means you'll have to balance out your combat load accordingly, maybe, because some of you want to carry that, but then don't like the idea of carrying it, so you want to still balance out to what your average combat weight, measure is, depending on what you have as a standard. Now, the next level is passe/last generation PASGAT Kevlar helmets that are out there. A lot of the Fritz helmets are gone. There are a bunch they're freely owned by independents out there. You can go to eBay, you can go to Facebook Marketplace, wherever you want to go. I've picked up some of those helmets for as little as $5 and $10 a piece for Kevlar helmets. I think the most I paid was the one for $15 right around the corner here, and it was brand new, immaculate, got extra helmet covers with it. It's virtually unused, okay, for $15. You'll still find stuff like that. Pay attention especially to your, every night go over there and survey locally because you never know what's going to be down the street. Now, it can be any one of the categories I'm talking about in terms of either like the Kevlar, like regular ballistic helmets, but last generation. It can be steel pots. Now, I don't have a problem with the U.S. Mark I helmet, the Vietnam back to World War II helmet used in Korea. So I got tons of them, put a bunch of them together. I personally wear one regularly. if I am in the field, you've probably seen some of the pictures and videos of what I've done. Yeah, I also have Kevlar. You've seen that in the equipping videos.
Hey, Mark.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, this is Fluffy. I found amongst my dad's stuff in a genuine World War II Fritz helmet, you might say, the German helmet of World War II that he brought home from Germany. He was a rifleman on the, I don't know, what would you call the front in Germany? The, European front? Anyway, he fought
European, Western front. I mean, because the Eastern front's Russian. The Western front would be with us and the Germans.
Yeah.
Now, those helmets, there's several different models, but the two basic jump-offs, one has a curl rim, one has a stamped straight rim. It's basically a single forged piece of metal. The ones with a curled rim also were typically actually had a little more ballistic potential, strangely enough, because they were earlier made. When the Germans made a counterpart to that, or the Spanish after the war, they made one that was thicker still and actually has more rifle protection potential. For a while, those came out, and then they were just gone. Now, if you have any of those old German helmets, personally, what I do with them, I just take an American woodland camo cover, or if your old guys are all using woodland, or whatever pattern you're using, and throw that helmet cover on the helmet. No one will know the difference.
You're right.
Yeah, they won't. Seriously, they won't. 99% of the people are totally unobservant, don't pay attention, and they work just fine. They're good helmets. There's nothing wrong with them. And by the way, the steel didn't go stale in the last 70 years.
Oh, I'm so glad.
It worked just fine. It's still good.
And got the Kevlar helmets I picked up locally for, I think I gave $5 at a yard sale for it, which was certainly worth that.
Oh, any helmet we see, any piss pot or any ballistic helmet of any kind, or any military helmet you see for $5, you just buy. Just grab. Number one, it'll go on someone's head. And by the way, it's nice to have stuff sitting around here and there, like on vehicles, so that in the event you're, in a vehicle, you can put more stuff to protect people from getting, thudded. It's a good idea. So, in fact, again, any of the helmets we're talking about are better than running around with your meaner naked. Now, we know we got patrol caps and we got boonie hats, but helmets are still a good thing.
Oh, boy, howdy.
I'm starting to feel bad. Am I the only person that paid $60 for a Kevlar helmet?
No, I've paid $60, $55. In fact, for the longest time, although they were brand new, from one of the wholesale sources out of Louisville, he doesn't have any of them. He bought like about 28,000, 30,000 at once, and we went down and bought a big chunk of what he had, and those were $65 a piece. But we were the first person opening the box after they'd been sold to the federal agencies.
No, mine had a sweaty sweatband in it.
Yeah, now as far as sweatbands, oh darn, that one. The place where you can still find brand new sweatbands. Probably, I would try Allegheny Surplus. Number one, number two, Coleman's, and then also I haven't gone through, but they might even have some over at Gun Parts Corp. They've got helmets, and I think they do have some sweatbands. In fact, I'm pretty sure they do. Now, the price is not really that outrageous, but what is it? The one company is gone now.
People can use the money that they're not spending on ammo to get other stuff right now.
Right. Well, if you can't get ammo, then there's all the other things that are still needed. The big thing is all the tiny items are actually pretty reasonably priced. A replacement sweatband is going to run you as little as 99 cents, which has a little leather, guys, if you don't know, it's a little goat skin leather, glove skin leather cover, and then it's a nylon strap that's adjustable, and it has the keeper clickers to lock into the webbing of the helmet. Well, for 99 cents, you can't go wrong. And I bought a bunch of them from the one company, but they apparently are out of business, or they've taken themselves offline. And they had the best price, 99 cents a piece. Now, Coleman's has had them pretty cheap. And so Gun Parts Corp may have some left. And then don't forget Major Surplus. They have stuff, but you have to look. And Maine Military. Maine Military may have some, but you're going to probably have to call the shop. They may not have it listed on the page. Call over to mainemilitary.com and talk to them, because I'll guarantee they're in the store. But none of these people have time to post everything they have on in their business, guys. So one way or another, we can get them that way. Good point on that, because another thing is chin straps. Same thing. All the companies I just mentioned, you can either get the original chin strap, or you can get all these new modified rigs that they've got that go right into the same fixture on the helmet. And all of them work. Now, the new ones are supposed to create less of the weeble-wobble on the head, but I would point out that that's what they claimed with the other ones that, well, when they came out with the Fritz helmet. The way they set up the webbing was supposed to prevent the weeble-wobble that you always had with the M1, because people didn't know how to put the M1 helmet, the steel pot, together. The complaint about it is based on the idea that they didn't teach people how to use the helmets. Kind of like they assumed everybody would, but then nobody ever was, and the ones who knew how to use it eventually left service, and the rest didn't think to do any in-depth, study of the subject. Because after all, it's only a helmet. I've had people say that. Well, how complicated is that? You don't know what you're talking about. Really? How many different retainer bands are there for the back of the M1 steel helmet? What? Well, what's that? You're the Weisenheimer who doesn't have a stinking clue about the equipment, right, asshat? See, example.
Same guy that wants the $500 gas mask instead.
Yeah, well, which is cool. $20. Which is cool.
Yeah. I'm going to pop up later on. I've got a decent buy on some wool blankets. They're not the U.S. military 4-pound, but they're 2 pounds. I'll come back and pop in later on.
Well, go ahead and throw it in right now. No, go ahead and throw it right now, right in the middle. In fact, everybody, get your pen and paper ready, because we are covering, we're always covering quarter.
Well, that's what I was saying. I would give you the item number, everything. It's over at Bud K. They are two for $17.99, I think. That's why I wanted to refresh myself. I bought 4 of them. They're pretty heavy. They're really thin. They don't take up a lot of room. I have not washed them yet. They smell like they've got some anti-moth chemical stuff on them. I want to wash them out. I'm not sure how much they're going to fuzz. I want to check that out. But good price on them. I got 4 of them shipped with tax and all the other all the other BS. It was $51 for 4 of them. They feel really warm. I mean, I haven't got chemicals on them, so I don't wrap them around me yet. But I stuck my hand in, and they were pretty warm. Bud K. Again, like I said, I wanted to get all my ducks in a row and call back, give you all the information. I got to get dinner started here, though.
Very good.
Do it right now.
Appreciate it. And again, budk.com, as long as we're pointing it out, remember they do have gas masks still, at least 1 or 2. And if you look, compare the price with where the Forshita masks went, which pretty much are gone from the system, along with several of the other, along with several of the other useful tools out there, let me point out. One of the interesting things about it is that they do have some pretty good buys on certain items in surplus, even at Bud K. They buy from the same place everybody else does, by the way. However, most important is that they have been restocking, and for whatever reason, looks like we might not be so lucky. They may have sold out again after we mention them. Well, it doesn't take us to mention them. I should point that out. The Polish MP5 gas masks are $29.99. Now, there's Polish, apparently the Hungarians, the French have used this. This has been a NATO mask for a bit, and it's the what they're calling is a Polish gas mask MP5. Now, the Polish ones are coming in, okay? But, well, it's a good thing I went over here. The Polish gas mask MP5 with filter, $29.99. The tan counterpart, virtually like new, $29.99. And if you go over to Sportsman's Guide or anybody else, that's an $80 mask right now. I knew they were lower, but I didn't know that they got the other one in, which they did, which means they bought it from the same source that Sportsman's Guide did. I guarantee it. They also do have a couple of other masks, including the Czech M10s in stock again, $29.99 for the Czech. And they do have the Breathe Safe respirator, same one that you see over at Maine Military, but Maine has a little better price. So just a heads up on that one too. And all of these are over at budk.com, budk.com. Just punch in gas masks. It'll show you what all they have in the inventory. But that Polish MP5 is also, a bunch of them that they thought were Polish that came in were actually French surplus. So there's a mix depending on who had what. They just assumed because they saw the picture and they got them from the same source that the source provided the same mask, but they didn't. Okay, there's some interesting stuff going there. It's not shenanigans. It's all the same basic mask. That's why, again, they're coming from the same manufacturer who contracted out to more than one company. Okay. Anyway, let me
Mark,
go back.
The ones that I went through. I did actually find slips of paper with Polish writing on in mine.
Yeah, so that's the Polish model that they're listing. Plus, they also do the Polish tan MP5 gas mask with filter, like new, military surplus. And if they made it tan, what'd they make it for? Desert Dust Part 2, the adventure continues, and operating in the Middle East. So if you guys are out west and you're looking for something to kind of match the rest of your tech for the southwestern part of the country, maybe that would be a better choice than the darker green or black masks that you might have already been, picking out or thought you were going to go to. And again, this is in the 40-millimeter filter. It has the goggle-type lens. This does not have a round face lens or a single eyelets. This has a goggle-type face lens. Now, that's supposed to help with people who are a little worried about closed-in spaces, man. And because of that, they built these this way to offer better visibility, obviously. That's the logic. So, but it creates other issues. Individual lens or optical points, only if one is damaged, you just smack a piece of duct tape over it, you can still see through it. Actually, it'd be true with any lens on your gas mask. This is another reason you should carry a small roll of duct tape in the bag for your gas mask in one of the side stations or anywhere on your person. Why? If your mask is compromised, if for some reason there was a full break through both lenses, or in this case with the one we're talking about, the MP5, it has a single body lens. Whereas, say, if I was wearing an M10M, I got an outsert and I've got the regular lens. Even if I'm wearing a lot of the other double goggle European or Russian masks, there are outserts for those. But this is the one thing I don't see with the MP5. So for everybody out there, just a consideration, Mr. Duct Tape is your friend, okay? Now, I got to go back to the beginning of what I was on, and I want to finish it about the helmets real quick, so I'm going to abbreviate first of all. The three types of helmets are in this particular pecking order. Top end would be obviously ballistic, like the Kevlars. The Mark 6 is available from Sportsman's Guide right now for about $89. Actually, I'll take that back. $90. Put a penny in there. And that's the same one that was going for as little as $60 4 months ago. Okay, but markets changed. Everybody knows we're going to war. Everybody's acting accordingly. The PASGAT helmets, the NATO PASGAT helmets, the Serbian helmets, there's a bunch of them out there, and a bunch from the northern European states, all have about the same ballistic potential, but there are some better than others. Do a little research, but they're all Kevlar. They all offer good protection. The next tier are metal helmets. Now, not all metal helmets are equal, and some are almost comparable to those new militia steel helmets that are being offered by the industry. The Swiss, standard Alpine helmet, the M70 /71, 72 series helmet, they look kind of like the British. They don't have a rim in the front, and that's because they're mountaineering helmets, okay? Those have rifle ballistic protection potential. That's how they're listed. That's why they're really popular, and that's why they've gone up in price, because people started to realize how they were made. Some of the German post-war copies of the M1 are built just like just like the Swiss helmet, and that's why they're much heavier. People go, it's a very heavy helmet. That's because it was designed with greater ballistic potential. Then there are the shell helmets, or the steel helmets of different grades, from the Eastern European, the Russian, Northern European, all over the planet. Most of them are from the European theater, Cold War or pre-Cold War period, World War II, we just mentioned. They're good helmets. They work just fine. They work just as well as they did before. No, they're not going to stop everything. And when somebody makes a snide comment about that, nobody said they were bulletproof. But they're going to help you. Sure as hell, they're harder than your butt hanging in the breeze. A helmet on your head is going to protect you from a lot of stuff that's flying around, okay? That's what they're for. Now, the third category is the bucket helmets / bounce helmets that are out there. And that can include hockey helmets, bicycle helmets, any number of different types that are out there. Some are cool looking, some are, dorky looking, but, again, do they work? Well, for anybody, if you're out there in the middle of the night, 3 in the morning, as I've said a million times, that branch you didn't see that was right at forehead level, better that armored head hits it rather than your forehead. Stitches at least are what we're looking at, maybe worse. So for everybody, again, it's common sense. These are the 3 grades, and progressively as we work our way down from the PASGAT or the ballistic helmets, the most expensive being the top of the line present day, which aren't necessarily even that much better than the other stuff we just mentioned, but they are out there in the market, and they have, they perform within the parameters established, okay? At least they claim they do. We'll find out down the road when you've seen enough of them in the field. But the pecking order is as we've mentioned. So take and act accordingly. If you have the money, the Mark 6 helmet's a good helmet. Been around for a long time now. It's not long in the tooth, but it is got a lot of senior time in the field. The PASGAT helmets work too. Ignore the BS about making snide comments. Again, it's a good helmet, and the price is right. Typically under $100, but they're also people are trying to get more than $100, and they've been selling them. So that's just where it is. These things were all cheaper before, or as people have had more of their epiphanies month after month, you've noticed the prices on a lot of the stuff has crept up progressively, and the stuff that was there is gone. That's just the way it is, okay? So we can accept that. We understand how that works. Just live with it. Another thing about the helmets is maintenance or, for instance, color. That's always an issue. Subdued, obviously, but, if all else fails, you can buy cloth as needed and make your own helmet covers. Now, whether or not they're going to have anti-infrared and all the other fun stuff that we've talked about this week, not necessarily if you buy commercial cloth. On the other hand, you can also cannibalize tired or exhausted or messed up clothing that's been shredded or damaged. If you get a pile of stuff and it's military, like if you do the auctions or sales from someone, you can grab a piece of equipment that way and make a matching camo cover that's copacetic with your particular system. Take one that's the actual cover, use it as the pattern for whatever you need to do, then crank out some, break out the sewing machine. You're going to have to get motivated. Other than that, again, I just want to address it because I've had so many questions about helmets in such a short period of time. Somebody's talking about it out there somewhere, and I haven't seen all of the venues, but the discussion is valid. It's something people need to ask about. And, again, the British ones, they're the, hold on here, it's the British Military Surplus Mark 6 Ballistic Combat Helmet. It's available over at Sportsman's Guide. And I better look, because they have been adding things. And you never know what they're going to actually pop in there with, because I'm hoping that we'll see some more of the regular. Oh, I see something right off the bat. Seems to, forget it. No. I'm not even going to mention it because I don't want you to take your brain and turn towards it. Remember those NATO helmets I mentioned that I told you all to buy when they were $62 a piece? Now that they're $135 a piece? What? Yeah, that's right. All you guys that bought those NATO military surplus flecked iron camel helmets, or the NATO or UN ones, and you bought them for less than $50 a little bit there, yeah, it's going to cost you almost 3 times as much to buy the same helmet right now. Just a heads up. Although you can buy a new Vism V-Star 3A Kevlar for $220. This is why, again, that British military surplus Mark VI doesn't have all the cover, but has good cover for $90, which means you can buy more helmets for less money. That's all we're looking at. How many? This is like talking about weapons. How many people do you need to outfit? How much money do you have to spend on such a project? A lot of you are already limited. We already know what's going on, which is why I always point you towards, well, that makes more sense budget-wise. Now, in metal helmets, I'm going to repeat this one more time. No, I'm not. Well, yeah, I can. We got just enough time. If you go over to, and this is the helmet I recommend from, for a lot of people from Gun Parts Corp. I've bought quite a few of these already. In fact, I bought a whole pile of them to go along with one of the air mobile units because they need some helmets that are a little lighter weight, but they need a piss pot on their head. If you're going to get on board a rotary wing, it'd be a good idea to have a safety helmet of some kind. And for the air mobile, especially, well, again, there are solutions. Now, they do have other equipment. In any of these companies, you see something else that floats your boat, you're all excited about, and you want to ignore Mark about, you're not ignoring Mark. You've got your mission, and you're going to accomplish it. And I don't have a problem with that at all. But there are a lot of other items out there that are very useful. This one is the one I'd be recommending. Well, there's two. There's two at this particular site. Swedish M37-65 helmet, olive drab, steel, very good to excellent condition. Every one of these I've had is virtually new. They're $12.95 a piece. Again, Swedish M37-65 helmet, olive drab, steel. Very much, the silhouette is so close. If you got a bunch of Mark 6s and you got a bunch of these and a few other of the different short head helmets, as I call them, you really can't tell the difference with the helmet cover on everything. They look close enough that if you're looking for uniformity and, friend-foe thing, you're fine. They do have a Swiss M71 helmet. No, they don't. It's out of stock. Sorry. But if you want to see it, what I'm talking about, the Swiss M71 has ballistic defense capability. They were selling those for $24. They're sold out. Okay, now you can find them over at Major Surplus for, I think, $70 right now. Same helmet. But, Mark, you just said they were $24. Yeah, I know. So let's ignore that one, and let's go over here. If you go to page 2 of the helmets, the first one that I mentioned is on the top of the page. It's the Swedish M37-65 helmet, olive drab, steel, very good to excellent condition, $12.95. They are mostly brand new. The ones I've gotten so far, the straps don't even have any patina. Usually when they have storage, hey, if they get a little oxidation, rust, it's usually right around the little working edges, and usually you can see where stuff's been worked. Doesn't exist. These things are in very nice shape. The other one, though, is the police ride helmet, light duty, excellent condition, $12.50. Now, again, this is a straightforward brain bucket model helmet, apparently blue. The ones I've had, one was really darker blue. The other one's like a medium blue. They can be painted or just a real quick helmet cover put over top everything. Eliminates a multitude of evil sin in color. But for $12.50, if you were looking for a polymer instead of a metal, and you wanted a basic like a bike helmet, this is, again, a lot more than just a bike helmet, as in bicycle helmet. And it has obviously seen service, and this is over at gunpartscorp.com. 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 And when you get there, military surplus, and then from there you go to the subcategory in military surplus, which is military helmets and liners. The piss pot they show, the USM one, I don't think they have that, not in stock. They've got another picture of it. But somebody's asking about the Bulgarian M51. It's a good helmet. It is. I've got 6 of them sitting outside. I just pulled out of storage. I'm sending over to another unit. But, again, personally, you get 2 of the Swedish Model 37s for the price of one of the other. It's a better choice. simply because, again, you're looking for something to, a beater bouncer. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. The Swedish don't make junk. I've used these for many years. I've used the Model 29 more than I've used the Model 37. I like the 29 for the shape. The 37 I like also, again, but it's a matter of flavor choice for personal. Whatever you guys choose, you figure it out. If you don't like anything I'm saying, congratulations. I can't bend your arm in any way. But I will make recommendations for those who are limited. This is a good way to put more armor on people. If you've got family members, you buy a pile of these helmets, put them all over the place, you got them. Okay. Like I said, I moved a bunch of them over to the air unit, the air mobile, and I'm working hard. We're going to double up the strength of our aircraft, if not triple. We've got sponsors. The sponsors are ready to move with cash. Everybody's in hard play now on this. So, working on the mech, working on the air, and obviously always supply and support, which is what you guys, this is where rubber meets the road, infantry. But your mech and your support units need all of this too. That's why I'm saying is for a support unit, the $12.50 Swedish helmet means you got a helmet. And everybody's got the same model of helmets. You're all consistent with pattern and model, and it helps to, dress up the unit. Esprit de corps. You want to look the same. You don't want to hodgepodge if you can help it. I'll use anything that's out there. You should have noticed that by now. But when you're building a unit up, heraldry is part of the whole process of building up motivated forces. So try to square yourself away. Be strapped. That's the job of the team leaders, everybody, to get everybody motivated to be proud, pride in performance, proud in their unit. And that means squared away. Now, it doesn't mean we're not worried about inspections. That doesn't work for us. We're not going to restrict you in whatever it is you're going to be using. But let me remind you that, hey, it's part of motivating other people maybe wanting to join because you actually look like you know what you're doing and you're pretty interesting to look at. Pretty cool looking. Not super critical, but you know how it works. Anyway, other items, if you go over to Gun Parts Corp, go through there, look to see if there's anything else you can use. I know a lot of you guys have been looking for bullet bag, brass bags for equipment. There's a bunch of stuff over there that might be useful for some of you mech heads, especially since there's a bunch of heavy stuff there. In fact, what did I see here? Well, actually, there are some barrels in there again, but this stuff comes and goes, so you never know when it's going to be there and gone. So your best bet is go check it out. It'll tell you if it's in stock. And whatever your interest is, go through page by page. Go patiently and diligently because you never know what you're going to run into. They're very eclectic over at Gun Parts Corp. Okay, I mean, it's just from one minute to the next. A lot of you guys are looking for RPG covers or, I got to mention that. Okay. Over at, if you go over to Gun Parts Corp, they have, anti-tank mines, flares, and military flare guns and flares, rockets and grenades. They have RPG-7 sights. And so if you're looking for and want to understand better what we're talking about, go look at their rockets and grenade section and take a look at the RPG-7 sighting systems that they have there. And there's 3 or 4 options. More gobbledygook is what basically you get, all the other goodies. I'm gonna break your heart because, well, no, maybe not. You don't care, but the PGO-7V, that's the headrest model for the optical sight. I was buying those with the pouches, everything you see there, plus the manuals and a few other goodies, for a whopping $5.25 when those things came in wholesale originally. Okay, just a heads up. Yeah, I see what the price is now. And, in fact, there's where I'm tempted to put them back out on the market because it's optics, okay? Somebody's going to need those optics. And, hey, I can undercut the price they're offering there. I can, and still be very happy since they paid about $5.50 for them. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, we are at the top. Hold on a second, caller. Go ahead.
That's a section that I think we all would like to see more, rockets and grenades.
Well, for training purposes, that's what all these are, trainers. None of this is active, but if you do take a look, remember, use this as a classroom of instruction when you look at images. What does that do? This is how you will see the item in the field. Not fully assembled, not out of the can. You're going to see things the way you see when these boxes are opened. You see how things are stored, see how stuff is in two-part munitions or disassembled and, some assembly required. Okay, that is true even of grenades. Not all grenades, in fact, most, do not come assembled. Most people don't know that, okay? It's like you get a box of goodies here, you get a smaller box of goodies there, and then you assemble them. God bless our republic.
Death to the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run.
Yeah, we are on the march day and night.
God bless the republic.
Yes, to the New World Order.
We shall prevail, ladies and gentlemen. The empire is on the run.
And we are on the march, day and night.
Hoorah. Thank you, gentlemen. Guys, we'll be back at 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, BC coming up next. Don't you touch that dial, because we got a lot more live radio on Liberty Tree Radio.
Plant the seed in our homeland, boys. Let it grow where all can see. Feed it with our devotion, boys. Call it the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Save it from the storm, boys. Water down its roots with tea. And the sun will always shine on the old Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. March along with the piper, boys. We were born forever free. Let's go pay the piper, boys, beneath the Liberty Tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty. Pay the price they're asking, boys. Always pay the tyrant's fee. Never.
Bringing you the sound of the revolution. Thank you for listening to LibertyTreeRadio.4mg.com.
We all